Welcome to the 40th celebration of the National Arts Club's Kesselring Prize for Playwriting. This year's winner is Mona Mansour. I'm Alice Palmisano, president of the NAC, and we're delighted that you could join us. For those of you who are not familiar with the NAC, it was founded in 1898 by poet and author Charles Dickey, who was also the literary and art critic of the New York Times. The mission of the National Arts Club is to stimulate, foster, and promote public interest in the arts and to educate the American people in the fine arts. The club's membership has included 3 U.S. presidents, distinguished painters, sculptors, writers, photographers, and architects. The NAC is unique in that it admitted women on a full and equal basis from the onset, and the club's emphasis on inclusivity continues to this day. The Kesselring Prize for Playwriting was founded in 1980 by club member Charlotte Kesselring in honor of her husband, the celebrated playwright Joseph Kesselring, who is famous for Arsenic and Old Lace. The prize consists of a $25,000 honorarium plus indirect support of the playwright's work, and some of that includes an opportunity to reside in the club while working on their work. The Kesselring Committee is headed by Governor David Glanstein and has worked tirelessly to make this evening possible. The Kesselring jury consists of celebrated playwright John Guare, Lincoln Center Theater's dramaturg Ann Cattaneo, and Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright Stephen Adley Gurgis. The Kesselring jury solicits entries from theaters and selects the winner. The artistic director of the Kesselring Prize is Michael Parva. And now I will turn it over to the NAC's executive director, Ben Hartley.
Thank you, Alice. How wonderful it is for the National Arts Club to be recognizing so many outstanding and diverse playwrights over the years. Playwrights who've gone on to achieve national and international honors and acclaim, including early winners such as Tony Kushner, Anna Devere Smith, Bridget Carpenter, Lynn Nottage, Tracy Scott Wilson, Rajiv Joseph, Lucas Nath, and more recently, Lauren Yee, James, and Inda Craig Galvin, just to mention a few. So before I turn this over to our artistic director, Michael Parva, it's my great honor to introduce 6-time star of stage and screen, Tony and Emmy-nominated Tova Felsher, who's going to tell us a little bit more about Joseph Kesselring.
Hello, this is Tova Felsher. Joseph O. Kesselring must have been a very optimistic man. When he and his wife Charlotte entered the Fulton Theater on West 46th Street on January 10th, 1941, to see his play produced on Broadway, I imagine he was hoping for reviews better than what New York newspaper critics had to say about his earlier works. Brooks Atkinson said of one of Kesselring's early plays entitled There's Wisdom in Women, that, quote, the lines should have been breezier, and that it had, quote, too much old hat. Then Walter Kerr slammed Kesselring's 4/12s or 48, writing it needed, quote, only 4 minutes acting time to exploit, and accused Kesselring of writing, quote, only for the amateur market. The Kesselrings had no reason to think that night that Arsenic and Old Lace would make them the toast of Broadway. With Howard Lindsay and Russell Krauss, the producers, they were absolutely thrilled with the reviews they received that night. Quote, the most riotously hilarious comedy of the season. Quote, absurdly gruesome yet gloriously funny. Of Kesselring's 12 plays, it was his only success and considered to be a masterpiece. I was lucky enough to play Abigail Brewster opposite Betty Buckley, who was Martha Brewster, in the 2011 production of Arsenic and Old Lace at the Dallas Theater Center. At one point in the production, I literally hung from a banister At another point, Jason Douglas, playing my nephew Jonathan Brewster, literally hoisted me over his shoulder and firemen carried me up the stairs. It was a ball. The play's madcap antics went on to delight audiences in Frank Capra's 1944 film starring Cary Grant as the nephew. Cary Grant was shocked to find out he was the only sane member of his family. Among the cast were Hollywood greats such as Boris Karloff, James Gleason, Josephine Hull, and Jean Adair, and reprising their Broadway roles, Priscilla Lane, Raymond Massey, Jack Carson, Edward Everett Horton, and Peter Lorre. Warmest congratulations this year to Mona Mansour for receiving the Kesselring Prize in Playwriting.
Thank you all for joining us in this celebration of playwright Mona Mansour. It's a pleasure to be working with the National Arts Club on this very, very important prize for playwrights. What you're about to see are selected scenes we put together from Mona's earlier, current, and present works. And to tell you more about them, I happily turn this over to Mona.
So, of all the plays that are being read today, it's probably the hardest for me to talk about is the Vagrant trilogy. The Vagrant trilogy was in rehearsals last year, 2020, after many years of development, including a trip to Sundance and readings of the trilogy at New Dramatists and a production at Mosaic in 2018. And it's probably, I'm probably playing it down when I say this, but we were all really excited about this play finally happening. There are not often plays about Palestinians in American theater, and this is a particularly ambitious production. It's 3 plays that are all presented in the course of one evening or one afternoon. Each of them is about an hour, give or take, and it is that the audience will see them all in one sitting. It became a trilogy when, after a year in the Emerging Writers Group at the Public Theater, I was paired up with the director, Mark Wing Davey, to do a reading of The Hour of Feeling. And that play itself had been written to be a prequel to Urge for Going, which was the first play in the trilogy I wrote. And I couldn't figure out what to do at the end of The Hour of Feeling. I knew that I needed to get the hero of that play to basically go back to Palestine when the War of 1967 breaks out. And I just couldn't get him to want to go home. And Mark Wing Davey said to me, we were in a casting session, and I said, I just don't have the ending yet, but I will. I have like 3 different endings. And I said, I need it to match up with the other play for which it is the prequel. And Mark said, well, it's fiction, so does it really have to match up? And I had also written about 5 different endings at the same time, and I sent them to a colleague from the Emerging Writers Group, my friend Kevin Snipes, and he read these different endings and he said, okay, the good news is you've found an ending, and the bad news is you might have another play here. And so what happens at the end of The Hour of Feeling is this moment where Adham and his new wife, Abir, who have been in London and who have had kind of a roller coaster of a time there as he's presented this important paper on Wordsworth. What happens at the end of that play is he has to decide if he's going to go home or not. And so what happens with the trilogy is the first play is that one, and the other 2 plays are the 2 different ways his life could have gone, depending on the decision he made. In terms of the trilogy itself, this is a play that was in rehearsal at the Public Theater in February through March of 2020. And we'd had our third technical rehearsal. Mandy Hackett and a couple other people from the public called us all into another theater. And of course, at that point, we all thought we would be back in 2 months, a month, a week. As it is now, our set is still there. My books are in there in the basement, and we are all dying to do the show, and hopefully it will happen this fall. But the interesting thing about that is that the play itself, the trilogy itself, is about time, and it's about a man who's sort of suspended in time. As a Palestinian, he's not been able to return home, and he hasn't been able to make sort of this psychic loop that most of us can make when we're able to go home and sort of recognize what homeland was or what our home was and sort of move on from there. So that play, this trilogy, which is about time suspended, has been suspended. And I love this cast like a family. I'm very, very grateful to all of them. I'm very grateful to the Public Theater for all of its support, and Jesse Alec, who's been a fantastic dramaturg. In particular, of late, we've worked on it a lot. And to set up the first scene, I will simply say that you are, the lights come up and you're seeing a kind of abstract and realistic all at the same time world of 1960s West Bank, with the influences of the West throughout. And you see a young man who's 24 years old and very full of himself. And he walks up a hill that is just outside the small village that he comes from, which is a town outside Ramallah. And he encounters a woman. And that is our first scene. And the next scene after that is he and that woman and his mother. I think that's all I'll say right now. Okay.
Meeting someone?
Oh, hello. No, I'm just taking a walk.
It's a long way up from the village.
Clears my head, so.
Wow.
Want one?
Are you allowed to do that?
No, but I don't ask for anyone's permission.
All right then. Your hand is shaking.
No,
Okay.
it's cold up here.
Okay. If you're going to transgress, at least enjoy yourself. I don't know why it's considered shameful anyway. The Prophet never saw a cigarette. If he did, who knows? Maybe he would have liked Gauloise.
You shouldn't be talking that way about the Prophet.
Says the girl who's sneaking to smoke.
I'm Abir.
Abir, yes. we met at some point. Yes? Sorry, I've been away for school. So why are you not at my party? Everyone in the village was invited.
Why are you not there?
I don't know.
You don't like parties?
I stayed for a minute. My mother is not happy with me. I don't like smiling and pretending to be gracious.
You can learn how to do that. It's a good skill to have.
You think I need a new suit?
I think you do. Those shoes are worn out.
I see. And they say the village girls have no taste.
I know what looks good. I read magazines, I see movies. I speak French fluently and some English.
And Arabic, of course, with a little bit of a peasant accent.
That is so insulting.
Please don't leave. I really like talking to you. Or we could go to the party if you want.
No. I'm not ashamed of being a villager.
You shouldn't be.
We had a farm, but I'm probably more educated than most city girls. I learned how to draw and design irrigation tunnels from my father. How many girls can say that?
So let's hear some English then.
What?
You said you spoke English?
I mean, just some phrases here and there.
Such as?
To start with law.
What?
To sir with love. The song? You know that one. Lulu?
To sir with love?
Yes.
So that's your English.
And a few lines from a movie, the Julie Christie one. I see all her movies. Do you go to the movies?
No.
Huh.
What?
Seems like you don't get out very much.
I guess I don't. I'm a boring academic.
Are you really going to speak at Oxford?
No. University College, London. A conference on romantic literature. I'm one of the keynote speakers.
That's wonderful.
Every year they highlight one speaker from abroad, and this year it was me.
Praise to God.
I'll keep the praise for myself.
You don't believe God had a hand in this?
I don't believe he has a hand, a face, an arm, a tooth. I don't think he exists.
Do you pray at least?
Not for years. Do you?
Of course. Well, it's habit. So, what happens after you go to London?
Who knows? You become well known in Cairo. You teach in Cairo. You become well known in London. You can go anywhere.
So that's what you want? To teach?
Well, I finished my master's, so that's done. Then, when you complete the PhD, teaching is the next step. But then anyone can do that, you know? It's another thing to be sought after, to have other scholars, people you respect, say, yes, I've heard of you, I've read your work. It's an imprimatur, you see? You keep building your reputation, and eventually you chair a department, and then you think I'm too much?
Yes. But I think that to get anywhere, one must have a lot of confidence.
So, what do you want?
I studied civic engineering in secondary school.
And now?
Now I'm supposed to wait at home for a husband.
Well, how's that going?
I don't like any of them. It feels forced. So you don't believe in any God? Not ours? No one's?
I believe in fate, if anything.
Yes?
When we were forced out of the Galilee, we ended up at a refugee camp in southern Lebanon.
Sorry.
I was 5, barely remember it. Anyway, my mother says she would have killed herself if we stayed, so she grabbed me and got us here somehow. My father thought things would get better.
So he stayed in the refugee camp?
He and my brother never left.
Do you talk to them?
My father is not alive anymore, but my brother and I, no, not really. It's very strange.
What's his name?
Hamzi.
Hamzi. So what does fate have to do with all that?
My mother put all her energies on me, demanded I be her equal. If it hadn't been just us two, I might have not achieved a thing. You think I'm strange?
I think you say strange things.
So why did you come up here?
You saw to smoke.
Why else?
I don't know.
You don't?
Why did you leave your party?
I felt uncomfortable. Everyone's expectations, people standing around, my mother asking for money. I just had to get out of there.
I saw you walk up the hill and I thought, if I don't talk to him now, I'll never get to talk to him.
And how does it feel talking to me?
I'm not sure. Not altogether good.
Oh.
And not altogether bad.
You look like your actress, like Julie Christie.
No.
And more beautiful.
Well, I'm not supposed to think that.
That's him getting the Jowett.
Oh,
He's the youngest recipient in the history of the award.
so impressive.
Then the Partington, that got him into university. That one was from the Catholics. They made him do some of these and write a letter to the Pope. But I didn't care. If they want to pay for his education, we do what they want.
It's this, left to right, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Get it right, Mother.
And this is his graduation picture. Careful.
I'll take that.
More food.
Oh, yes, it's delicious.
It's passable.
I don't agree.
Keep eating. Did my son tell you what I did for him as a child?
Of course I did.
You made him read to you. And you tested him, right?
That's what he said.
Well, I mean,
That's 1/10 of what I did after An-Nakba.
Oh no.
You want to tell the story?
Of 1948, I'll pass. She knows anyway. The Israelis took her family's farm. Her father died.
They killed him?
no, not from that. It was all the smoking. His lungs, he smoked a couple packs a day.
They killed him. What about the rest of your family?
Well, I live with my brother and my sister and her husband. And my mother lives with my other brother in Detroit, Michigan, America.
What does he do there?
He makes cars for the Ford company, automobiles.
I got that.
Adham told me you were from the Galilee.
Before they cleaned out every village.
And then Lebanon?
It wasn't a pleasure trip.
I know that.
We get there and we sit in a refugee camp, a shithole. I realized that this isn't temporary. This place is death. I grabbed my son and came back here with nothing but my education. That's it. Did he tell you I started a degree in philosophy? God help us. The war is on. It's happening.
It's just fireworks. Disappointed, Mother? Did you expect to see Egyptian jets here to liberate us all?
That's not funny.
Independence Day fireworks. How can the Israelis call it Independence Day and not choke on the words? They celebrate forcibly removing people from their homes? Killing men, women, and children?
Let's not get political.
Who's getting political? Anyway, did he tell you what I did for him?
You did so much for him. You did everything to help him be successful.
I did. He was a nervous child. There's no shame in that. He was born that way, but it was a problem. I took him to the Quaker school first time and he starts crying.
Aww.
I said, listen, no, you can't do this. Remember this?
What would it matter if I said no?
So we made it a game. I made it a game. I pointed at the pathway. Here. Each tree on the side is a great poet, okay? And they're here to greet you. You know what he says? He says, name them. Tell me their names. I thought, shit, he's a genius. So I had to play along. This wasn't my style, this sort of whimsical approach.
Really?
So I scramble. I say, this one is El-Mutanabbi, the great poet. This one El-Yajizi, El-Barudi, Aristotle, Shakespeare. And then he goes on his own.
Wow, it's a beautiful story.
So, I don't want to have to ask your blessing. We're not traditional that way.
So don't ask.
I've already talked to her brother and we spoke to the sheikh.
Oh.
But I'm giving you the chance.
My son is too young to make his way with a woman.
What?
In 10 years or so, when he's more established, that's when he starts looking for a wife, and then he'll be at a higher level. You understand.
I should go.
Mother, stop.
We've discussed this. I said the same thing about your Egyptian girlfriends.
She's the smartest girl I've ever met. She's your match.
Oh, really?
I'm leaving.
You're unbelievably insulting on every level.
I'm insulting. I waited with you for your passport for hours, begging them to issue it to you. They're suspicious of every Palestinian these days, and I'm standing there pulling out my birth certificate from the British mandate, telling them lies that your father died, performing the sad widow act, bribing them. You have your mind made up? Then why go through the motions? You're making a mistake if you go with her. I know what mistakes are. So even though you really don't want to hear my opinion, I'm giving it. This is my house.
Hello, I'm Oscar Eustace, Artistic Director of the Public Theater. Mona Mansour is an amazing playwright and a wonderful human being. It has been one of the great pleasures of my job over the last 15 years to watch Mona grow and learn and dig and explore, understand not only her own roots, but how the world works, and her commitment to actually diving into the world at the same time as she's diving into Wordsworth's poetry has created this astonishing set of pieces, the Vagrant Trilogy, which we are going to be so proud to be producing. They would have been already celebrated by the world if it hadn't been for COVID, but they'll be the first thing we do when we come out of COVID. Mona is a totally deserving recipient of this prestigious award, and I am so, so proud to call her my friend and colleague. Congratulations, Mona.
Hi, my name is Jesse Cameron-Alec, and I'm the company dramaturg at the Public Theater. It's my very, very great pleasure to record this message in honor of Mona Mansour, who is being awarded the Kesselring Prize today. Mona, I love you so much. I've known you for 10 years, and we've been working on this trilogy of plays that entire time. But during that time, we haven't just worked on these plays. We've also worked on other little art projects. We've also gone for walks. We've also done lots of poetry readings and hung out on Martha's Vineyard in DC. And we've enriched our relationship, and it is such an honor to be friends with you, to be your colleague, and to watch as you continue to bloom in the concrete of our time. Love you, Mona. Congratulations.
So this excerpt is from my play, We Swim, We Talk, We Go to War. I wrote it sort of about me and my nephew. I mean, I've changed a lot of details, but I have a very beloved nephew who is in the Army. And we found ourselves in real life meeting back up in San Diego, where we both grew up, particularly he grew up, and doing these swims in the Pacific Ocean. And there were a few scary moments that had to do with swimming and had to do with, if you know anything about ocean swimming, it can be a little scary. And then there were a few scary moments that had to do with us as people and who we both were and the ways in which we started to talk to each other as adults. And I began the play many years ago, before Trump was elected. During that presidency, nice to say that in the past tense, I thought about that play a lot because it is two people, an aunt and her nephew, who, if the play is working, you really feel that they love each other and they want to stay together. They want to stay friends. They are family and they want to stay friends. And they reach these impasses within the play. And the play is funny. The character of the aunt is based on me in many ways. And there are places where the aunt almost realizes that this identity that she feels as a Middle Eastern American can almost seem like a construct at times. Just how much does she really know about this country that sort of haunts her? So I would say that I sort of poked fun at myself a little bit in the play. And I also sort of dug into places where I felt like not just me, but that we as Americans kind of have no idea what our military is doing, and haven't a clue as to what those lives actually look like. We don't necessarily know where our troops are at any moment. And what does that disengagement mean for all of us? So that's that play. So We Swim, We Talk, We Go to War will be presented by Sarah Nina Hayon as the aunt and Josh Chesson-Uden as the nephew. They both appeared in the world premiere of the play at Golden Thread in 2018, and that was directed by a dear friend of mine and frequent collaborator, Evren Ochikin. And I'll just say, because why not? There were two productions that were slated for this time, and both of them got canceled because of COVID. So, you know, this is the reality of the time that we've been in, obviously, for theater, and there are many stories like that, but I thought I should tell you. The last thing I'll say is that you will see the two of them play the aunt and her nephew. What you won't see are the two characters who sort of serve as the stage manager in our town. They fill that same role in this play. Off to the side during this play, you have an Arab man and an American soldier, and they often sort of get involved in the action, but they also just sort of let the audience know what time of year it is, the temperature of the Pacific Ocean, and things like that. Okay.
Should we just wait for the fog to clear?
Tread water?
Yeah. Treading water is actually, in fact, an art form, and she may be putting too much into it here.
You don't have to do it that hard.
I'm not.
You have to conserve energy, you know? Otherwise you burn out.
I know that.
You never know how long you have to do something.
I know how to sustain myself in water. Like this. Dead man's float. If you do it right, you can last for days. You know it, right?
Of course.
This Florida couple, or they weren't a couple, but they went on a date, like a first date. And the guy was like, "Oh, I know how to sail. Let me take you sailing." But he didn't. And they got caught in something and capsized. And basically she kept herself alive for days doing the dead man's float.
What happened to the guy?
I don't know.
He didn't make it?
I think he didn't.
She left him?
I think, I can't totally remember, but I think, like, in addition to not being a good sailor, he also wasn't a great swimmer, you know? and I think maybe it was one of those situations where you can't save the other person too, you know?
No, you can always save the other person. Always.
I guess so. I guess she didn't. Anyway, I know how to save people. I learned it in Girl Scouts.
I can't believe you were a Girl Scout.
Why?
You hate all that stuff.
What? All that stuff? What stuff?
Groups. You hate groups and American things.
I never said that.
You do, though. You hate them. Like people pledging allegiance. A group of people pledging allegiance to America, you hate that.
I don't like being forced to stand up at a baseball game. Why should I do that?
See, why not? Why not? Why just you? You have to be the one person who doesn't stand up?
It's pageantry, nationalism. We're number one. I hate that.
You don't like people being proud of their country?
I guess I don't.
But you like the Girl Scouts.
Well, it's a great organization. I learned how to do all sorts of stuff I'd never have done. Hiking, backpacking, learning how to use a compass.
With groups.
Yes, but with a group of people on a mission.
A mission!
A mission that made you focus on a goal, an individual goal.
They're basically a paramilitary organization. You just don't acknowledge it.
No.
You get badges. You make an oath. You get pins for years of service.
Yeah, but I loved it. I never felt like I was in the military. What? What's wrong? You getting tired?
No. It's just weird. Like no shore. Shore no more. Shore no more!
Okay, let's not panic. Let's just go towards where we think the barking dog was.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm tired.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
Come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go. A long, long time ago, heard it on the radio. Sounds so good to me. U.S. Army Cavalry. Come on.
No.
Do it. A long, long time ago, they swim. They swim for a long time. They reach shore. They're tired. Exhausted.
Fuck. Shit.
We made it.
That was, scary.
Scary. Jeez.
What was that, chant?
Cadence.
You do that every day?
No. It's for the grunts. Are you like trying to get me to doubt or something?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
You sure?
I don't think so.
Because either way, I have to go. Like, you can't say to them, hey, I'm kind of not wanting to do this now.
Oh. I thought, you didn't have to get tied in completely.
Not if you have a scholarship. I have a scholarship. They're training me to be a leader. So, I have to go be a leader for a while. Pay them back, you know? I mean, did you think you were gonna, like, talk me out of it or something? Is that why we came out here? So you could work that into the conversation?
No. I wanted to hang. I never see you guys anymore. Remember when you were little, we used to do that special day thing on your birthdays? Remember? Thought we could do that.
Okay.
So, when would you go?
Get deployed?
Yeah.
We're still training, but, you know, whenever they want us. You, like, think I'm some warmonger.
No. I think you have a good reason for wanting to do this. I think you're a good person.
Huh.
I do. I really do. You're a good person. You were a sweet kid.
Ha ha ha.
You were.
I don't care about people, though.
Yes, you do.
No, I really don't. You think I do, but I don't. Now, I have no problem eliminating them if they're the enemy. Like, you know, I don't think of it as some big loss.
That's what it's like, where did you hear that? Nobody in our family was in the military.
Both my grandfathers were in the army.
It was Vietnam. They were drafted. My dad, your grandfather, hated it. He worked in the accounting office, cutting checks in Georgia. He hated being told what to do. He always ran at the back of the pack on purpose.
So he wasn't a good soldier, that's all.
Oh, I'm sure he would agree. What if it's the wrong people?
It's never the wrong people. Did you hear what I said?
Hi, Mona. Congratulations. I've been dancing on a cloud ever since I heard you receive the Kesselring Prize. There are so many reasons why it's important to acknowledge you as an artist right now, and I'm going to name two of them. First, you're a phenomenal playwright. You live in a state of constant curiosity about the world, and your plays make us care about the world as much as you do. Second, and arguably just as important, you have a knack for bringing people together as community, no matter what it takes against all odds, which, frankly, is the prime directive of theater. When the pandemic shut down your play at the public, even before it opened, what did you do? You invited all those disappointed artists and company members into a Zoom poetry reading group, which has met weekly for a year, giving those artists, including me, the space to connect and to hold on to hope. Now, I hope the theaters will reopen soon, and we'll be able to see your plays on real stages before long. Here's to a happy new year and to finding our way back together in large part through the inspiration of Kesselring recipients like Mona Mansour.
Mona Mansour, congratulations. I'm so happy to be able to send this video message, and also congratulations to the Kesselring Prize for picking the right person. Mona, you're an important writer and a leader among your peers. You are an inspiration to me and so many others as an artistic citizen. You're a great dancer and a truly amazing friend. I love you and I miss you. I wish I could say congratulations in person, but until then, congratulations. Hope you have a great celebration tonight.
So this next excerpt is from The Way West. And I love all my plays, maybe the way that other artists love all their creations, or a mother and father love all their children. This one is probably one of the most different plays that I've written from my other plays. I don't know if that makes sense. The Way West is a very, very dark comedy about a mother who's really kind of come to the end of her life. Her physical self isn't doing well. Her financial self isn't doing well. The play was based on my mother, Judy Mansour, who died about 4 years ago, but I had written the play before she died. I was writing it sort of as we were going through the experience of watching her lose her faculties and watching her continue to have this fervent belief that she was going to do X, Y, and Z. Tied up in that was this sort of escapism that she had about the West and the notion of who pioneers were and how she herself was a pioneer. Even in her last couple of years when she was at a nursing home, she talked about one day moving into a cabin again. The play is not about illness. It's not trying to get you to feel bad for the mother because of her illness. For that reason, I think it's a play that is something some people love and something some people don't. It also steps right into this very uncomfortable thing that I think we have as Americans about our money. As I was writing it, again, we were dealing with my mother's health. She had Parkinson's and she was in decline. But I was also dealing with my own financial issues. So the play sort of talks about physical life, financial life, and this notion, especially in the West, that with enough pluck, you can get through anything. Because I found that same notion crept into my own beliefs about my finances. And I was also struck when I was working on the play that Americans can be sort of obsessed with money and having money, but they really don't like to talk about it. People will tell you about their sex lives. They will tell you about horrific things that happened to them in childhood, but they don't want to talk about, hey, I don't have money right now, or I have blank amount to last me for the next 2 weeks. And so I wanted to put that in the play, and it's in there. And I'm absolutely thrilled that two of the actresses from the Labyrinth production that Mimi O'Donnell directed are doing the excerpt today. Dee Dee O'Connell has done this role of mom twice, and Nadia Bowers has worked on Manda many times, but has performed it once at Labyrinth. And I love them dearly. And what else can I tell you? Yeah, the play sort of goes in and out of a certain kind of living room reality. There are these sort of breakout moments where mom starts either singing or talking about the West. And those sort of live within the confines of this California home in this crumbling town. So within that home, there are sort of these vast vistas that mom sees and believes in. And these are the things that will get her through these hard days. Excited for you to watch.
A word about Western people. We Western people, we are special, okay? I'm not saying we're better. Maybe you think we are, and that's fine with me. You can tell one of us by the fact that we haven't endured and had hard-bitten times. We've had to do whatever we had to do to get food from the land. Sometimes it's just like birds, taking food from my mouth to my babies if there wasn't enough. Things like that. Put it this way. We look death square in the eye, and say, "Not now, not today." You hear me? Okay, girls, have a seat. Let's get to it. I'm going to tell a story now, okay? And this is a modern day pioneer story. This story takes place in this modern day. Now, okay, this one's got some scary parts. It does. Some of these stories might be grim, and you just got to know that coming in. But they always involve heroism. Okay. The story of a woman who turned a problem into a weapon. There was a woman driving west on I-80. She got stuck in a rainstorm. The rain was just starting to hit the ground, so it's all slick. The roads, that's the worst time to drive. Remember that, girls, when the oil mixes in with the water. So, the woman hits a slick, and her car spirals off the side of the road, goes over a hill, into a ditch, no one around for miles, and she is flat under her car, just smelling the dirt. She shimmies out, but her leg is stuck. She pulls it out, and it wasn't whole, the leg. It was smashed. Like where there was 2 bones, now there's like 5 or 6. She could see under the skin where one bone veered away from the other. Not the way it's supposed to look. She starts walking. Well, not really walking. But she keeps going and going and going and going, because that's what you do. And eventually she gets tired. So she sits herself down right there, middle of the desert. That way she can see all around her. And then, a couple hours later, it's the middle of the night, up walks this dog. Like a wild dog. The kind that eat people. Like a coyote. And this thing comes up and it starts licking its chops. It sees next week's dinner right in front of it. Oh, hello. And do you know what that woman does? Do you know? She takes the leg, the smashed one, and she pulls it away from her body in this real unnatural way. And because it's smashed, she can do this. And she hits the animal again and again. She uses her own leg as a weapon, still attached to her, you know, but flopping around like a hose. Anyway, she damn near kills the dog, but that dog respects her for it. He knows it was him or her. He sits there wailing all night long, and she's wailing, and now they're both in pain, but they keep each other company in a way. That's what it is to be from the West. No one has to tell you how to do these things. You know how to kill a rattlesnake with a rock. You just know, because that's what we do out West. That's what defines us. So, when I'm standing in line at Long's Drugs or whatever they bought them up to be, and I get frustrated because it's taking too long, and why don't they open up another register? Everyone's incompetent. I just have to look at the people. The cashier, the people in line, my people. And remember, we are fierce. We are solid. We had to suffer some big hardships to get here. And we are good. I know I said we weren't better, but we are. Oh, there will be adversity. We may lose a leg on the way, but we will overcome it. It's in our blood, in our DNA, in our whole way of being. Let's go, babies.
So that was Dee Dee O'Connell doing the opening moments of The Way West. I want to say something about Dee Dee, and I want to say something about Nadia Bowers, who you're about to see, which is there is sometimes this notion that gets thrown around that actors are replaceable and you can just cast somebody else. And it honestly is very not true. And it's been one of the huge joys of my life that I've been able to work with both of those women on different iterations of The Way West. And in fact, we did our very first outing of that play at the Lark when Hurricane Sandy happened. And it was an insane way to get ourselves accustomed to the world of the character of Mom, who seems to kind of want to live this ferocious pioneer life. So you just saw like the opening monologue, and Mom is saying that to her two daughters. Amanda has come home to try to fix everything. She's not able to fix things. And in fact, her own financial life is really on a precipice. In doing so, she reconnects with an old flame from high school, Luis, and they spend an evening together, and they are in Amanda's house at this point. There has been a fire. There is barely a couch, half of a couch. It's not exactly the sexiest of settings. And that's really all I want to say about the scene. The other thing to say, again, is how much I love Nadia. And we were very lucky that Nadia is married to an actor, Corey Stoll, who's obviously amazing. And it was a great opportunity to have the two of them work together, especially at this time, to have two people in the same space being able to do work. So this is a scene from the play later on, when there's been a fire in the house, and when to anyone else it would seem quite obvious that things are going downhill fast. But Amanda hasn't quite grasped the reality of the situation yet.
It's some kind of barking job out there.
Yeah. Mom got a little creative when she parked the car.
Yeah. Well, goodbye.
Oh. Goodbye.
Bye.
You can come in. I mean, is that okay? I think we can do that, right?
I should go. Jenny wants me to stop on my way home.
Just getting us out of the dark here. Hang on.
Oh, man, what happened?
I told you we got shut off. I'm just trying to put it in my name.
No,
Just get a whole
I
new
mean
account.
the fire. This is more than a little house fire.
It looks worse than it is.
Oh, man, let me loan you some money. You can't live like this.
But wait. Why do you not live with your fiance? It's a little weird.
She wanted, well, her family actually wanted to wait till we got married.
Oh, so formal.
I guess so. I should go.
Well, you should go then. I mean, so.
Did I make it seem like...
Oh, no, you didn't.
Okay, because, I could.
What? Could what?
Marry you. I could.
Oh. Oh. Mm-hmm.
But, I can't.
Oh.
Oh, I'm drunk.
Me too.
Oh, what did we do?
No, drank a little, I guess.
Yeah, I feel it. I'm unsteady. Man. Yeah, when I was younger, I could just put them away and keep going and going and going for hours. Remember?
I know.
What?
No, just how we used to get. Remember going to Tio Leo's?
Tio Leo's, God, Tio Leo's, tequila poppers.
Oh, it was the only place that wouldn't card us.
Yeah, because my cousin Nani worked in the front. Remember?
Oh, yeah. How is she?
She's good. She's good. She married that guy, Chuck. Remember the bouncer?
Oh. Good for her. Good for them. That's great.
Yeah, he got his act together finally. Went to Vegas, did the whole thing.
Oh, good for her.
He's the guy that should have been carding us. Oh, your mom still has that planter.
She loved it. She always liked the little presents he used to give her.
This isn't good.
What?
You and me, Amanda. I feel like I'm gonna slip up.
I don't want things to feel with us. I mean, I don't want that.
Right. Yeah, me either. So yeah, I should go.
Yes. Okay.
Okay then. I guess I'll see you in court.
That's ridiculous. See you in court. It can mean so many things.
It's true. I didn't think about that.
Do you think my mom's bankruptcy claim will go through?
I mean, I think yes. But I don't think she's going to be able to keep the house. I thought maybe she could keep it with this thing called the homestead exception, but it's pretty much impossible when there's nothing to work with on her end. Did I not cover that?
No. I mean, I'm sure you did. You gave us a lot of info. We had it all to go through it. I have been not paying attention, I think. Lou. Thank you for helping us.
I wish I could have done more. Did they find out about her health?
No. She's terrible with symptoms, describing them. She gets mad if you ask. It's some kind of neurological thing. Just so vague with her. So.
It's gonna be okay.
Thank you for saying that. She's so strong, you know. You knew her. You knew her when she functioned in the world. Remember?
Of course,
remember?
yeah. She's the best. Maybe I should say. Just stay still for a little bit.
It's fine. I mean, wherever you want to sleep, it's fine.
Just right here. I think I'll just lie down for a second.
Okay.
Yeah. I always liked your mom's couch, so.
Hang on.
I should go.
Oh, here, let me move some of these pillows.
That's okay, baby. It's fine. I'm fine. Baby, I like you. I like you, Amanda, Mandy. So much.
Is it okay if I ask you something, though?
Sure.
Why couldn't you marry me?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. You always seem like you had better things coming, you know?
Huh. I did?
This is a basic crossing the prairie story, and that is why it is being told, so we have a foundation. Now, the main thing you got to listen for here is numbers, okay? Numbers are very important in this story and in all prairie stories. First off, what makes people decide to do it? Well, we don't ask why a lot, but let's just say this. They got something and they want more. Simple. And that pertains to numbers. More is a number. Okay. Let's say they start from Independence, Missouri, and let's say they start with 217 people. Bright and hopeful, they follow the trail southwest to Blue Mound, Kansas, and by the time they get there, they're down to 210. 7 of them do not make it. They die. That's not even a hard stretch. But some of them, maybe they start off not so good, right? Like they have a little cough as they board the wagon, and then the stress of the travel hits them, and down they go. Some people find out real fast they are not cut out for the trail. Next stop, Boise City, Oklahoma, 450 miles. Guess how many they lose? 45. 45. Gone and down. The positive here is that people are developing new skills. They're learning how to pack dead bodies in trunks to maximize space, like those people that come and help you figure out how to get more shelves in your closets. That's prairie living. Turns them into problem solvers in surprising ways. Now to Albuquerque. Now you're starting to hit mountains. And boom, people are dropping like flies. The weak ones, the living ones can't keep track of the dead ones at this point, pretty much at this point. You lose all social skills. Like, instead of saying, "Good morning, how you doing?" you wake up and say, "Who died last night?" That is good morning. Those words are substitutes for good morning. Brushing hair, maybe even putting clothes on. That's all just side thoughts. Certain niceties, like getting dressed and so forth, get thrown away. And you can't ask why you're still alive, even to yourself. Like, why me? How did I get spared? Because once you stop to ponder, you are vulnerable to being felled down. The prairie don't care for introspection. 500 miles to Bullhead City, Arizona, 50 more down. The only way to make it is to know that you are going to a better place ahead. Then the things you have to do don't bother you. Like roasting an entrail over a buffalo chip and eating that for dinner. Or taking the bow out of the hair of a dead lady, just because. And then you're in the last stretch. You're crossing the Sierra Nevada, Carson Canyon, Sacramento City, and you get this euphoria. This is it. This is what you worked for. And so, the 74 and a half who make it. The survivors, the winners, right? Let's just say it. They go over that last crest of that last mountain, and they see the ocean. They smell the salt water, something most of them never dreamed of doing. And they step in that water. and they know. This is the moment. Well, I went out across the plains, saw things I'd never seen, the mountains and the deserts, and finally the ocean. The world, it is upended here. It's on the other side. And we who make it all the way forget those who have died.
Mona, congratulations. Happy Kesselring Day. I wish I could be there in the same space to celebrate and toast you. And hopefully one day soon we will all be able to do that in person. You are an extraordinary writer. You are a generous and funny human being. And I could not be happier to send you all my best. So congratulations.
Hi, I'm Inda Craig Galvan. I would like to extend a huge congratulations to you, Mona, on being the recipient of this year's Kesselring Prize. It's a wonderful honor, and you're a wonderful playwright, whether it's the Vagrant trilogy. One of my favorite plays of yours is Unseen. The way that play in particular uses language, dialogue, location, time, memories to tell a story. Just stunning work, and looking forward to more and more and more to come from you. And again, congratulations.
Dear Mona, congratulations on receiving this Kesselring Award. So well deserved, such an honor. I look forward to your beautiful writing to come, and of course you know that I'm a fan of everything you've written so far. So congratulations again, and keep up the good work.
Hi, I'm Ann Cattaneo, dramaturg of Lincoln Center Theater, and I am the least important of this fantastic trio of judges of the Kesselring Prize, John Guare and Stephen Gerges. And I am just here to say that under normal circumstances, we would be popping by the National Arts Club to wish Mona Mansour our best of luck for her year as a Kesselring winner and a terrific playwright. We have a great track record of finding wonderful writers, and I met her work for the first time when I saw The Urge for Going at the Public Theater years ago. So I'm thrilled that we're able to add her to our distinguished list of honorees over these past many years. I serve on this panel with two legendary playwrights. And so for our little honoring Mona on video instead of in person, I'm going to turn over a brief Zoom to my fellow judge, Stephen Gerges. And you might meet his dog, who's in the background.
Hi, Stephen Ali Gerges, and I just wanted to congratulate you, Mona, on the Kesselring Prize. It was a beautiful play. You're a beautiful writer, and I look forward to seeing beautiful productions live sometime before too long. But thank you, and congratulations, my Arab American sister. And now,
hi, and I'm John Guare, and Mona, you did something unheard of in the history of the Kesselring Prize. Usually the judges have good knockdown fights about who the winner should. We all have our favorites. This year, it was completely unanimous. Everybody said, well, there's only one winner. I mean, you were so, your play was your play just entranced all of us. And what I couldn't get over the play is that how the daring to take an late 18th century play by Wordsworth about the Lake District and a ruined cottage, and turn that into the central symbol of the Middle East crisis in 2021, I found astonishingly bold. And you do it in a very non-show-offy way about these, these Middle Eastern academics at Oxford. So at the end of during the ruined cottage, the Wordsworth poem, Robert. This poem is all about exile and homelessness, which is the theme of your play. And before Robert leaves his home to start the ruination of the cottage and the family, he gives his wife a purse of gold coins. And we just give you a measly check. But since this is a trilogy, this is only part one of a trilogy, I fully expect you to win the Kesselring for the next 2 years, for parts 2 and part 3, if that's legal. I'm ready to give it to you right now. I can't wait to see, well, none of us can wait to see these plays, and they are brilliant, and our heart just for giving the American theater a whole new dose of energy and a whole new way of looking at the world is an absolute thrill. And I think of what the mission of the Kesselring Prize is at its best. So thank you so much, Mona, and we really look forward to seeing this play, and hopefully this nightmare, ghastly time will all be over, and we'll go back to that thing called the theater and be illuminated by your absolutely brilliant play. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Hartley. I'm the Executive Director of the National Arts Club. If, like me, you've just enjoyed for the last hour and a quarter the artistry and brilliance of Mona Mansour, our 2021 Kesselring Prize winner, you will be amazed by her work, by her breadth, by the incredible actors she gets to work with. It's my great pleasure to introduce our 2021 Kesselring Prize winner, Mona Mansour, and Ava Warbrick, who is a member of our Kesselring Committee. Thanks very much, everyone, and Mona and Ava, over to you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Ben. And congratulations, Mona. I'm Ava Warbrick. I'm part of the Kesselring Prize Committee, and I'll be reading the questions coming through the Q&A box. So please write in any questions you have for Mona. And if we have time afterwards, we may have an opportunity for you to raise your hand in the Zoom, and we might be able to have promote you up to the camera and have a little chat with Mona, but please type in your questions. Mona, how are you feeling?
I feel very, very, very happy. I was very anxious earlier, and I realized that if it were analog life and not COVID times, I would have probably gotten a drink at the National Arts Club before all this began. And I would have kind of looked at the space and been overwhelmed. And then once it started, it would have taken over. And so I didn't have that ritual here because I'm at home, because we're all at home. But once it started, I just felt like I felt so happy and so lucky. And I'm so moved by those actors who just, like, I didn't see any of that until just now. And so in the case of like The Way West, I haven't been around those words for years now. And so to see Dee Dee and Corey and Nadia, like all of that, anyway, it was all incredible. The Vagrant piece, We Swim. So I feel very happy and sort of relieved, even though I didn't really lift a finger during this performance, but you know, it just, and surreal, right? Because this is, look at what we're chatting here, you and I. So, but at least there's this, right? So, yeah.
Yes, Zoom is a wonderful platform we found. Okay, so I have a question here. And this is about the Vagrant trilogy. Many voices around Adam seem to want to prescribe an identity for him. Can you speak about Adam's struggle with identity?
Yeah, I mean that is probably one of the major themes of the play. Um, he's this. Sorry, my cat is she's gonna be in this. So there she is. That's Flora. So for some people, it's their 2-year-olds. For me, it's my cat. So the play starts, and he's this cocky young man who's just finished at Cairo University, and he's ready to hit London, and he has some insecurities, but doesn't really realize till he gets there that there's an immense world out there that he really didn't know about. He also realizes that he is a little behind when it comes to literary criticism and literary theory. And so suddenly, this kind of cocky young man we've seen in the first scene is thrown into a whole new thing. And what happens is there's sort of assumptions made about him, right, by other people. And that sort of happens for the first 2 plays. So people have this sense of, okay, you're Palestinian, thus you are an outsider, so you must want this, or you must see Wordsworth in this particular way. And the reason it's called the Vagrant Trilogy is there's a short phrase in Tintern Abbey about vagrant dwellers. And so one of these scholars in the first place is something like, what about the vagrant, right? As if to say, he's not going to say this way because it's 1967. And maybe people aren't going to say it that way now, but he's sort of saying you are a brown man and you are kind of a refugee in our eyes. So you must have an affinity for him. So I guess that's mostly all I would say about it. That it has to do, it's very tied in with how they think he's going to present his literary criticism and the way that he sees Wordsworth. They've decided that he sees Wordsworth through a particular lens, and it's not really true.
I have another question about the play and about the character Abir. She's such a strong character and so confident, and despite not speaking the language and being part of that academic club, she really kind of holds her own, which is, it seems to be sort of a little bit of a contrast to where Adam is. And I don't know, could you speak a little bit about the sense of self with, the differences between those 2 characters?
Yeah, I mean, she is this girl from the village. She's 19. And she knows who he is and goes after him. And what's interesting for me about her is that as the trilogy goes on and certain traumas take hold of the 2 of them, Abir actually transcends in ways that he doesn't, right? So she's 19 and you sort of go, well, God, yeah, she's really out of her element there in London. But actually, the Abir that you'll see throughout the trilogy is quite different. So one of the interesting things has been, how do you fold what we think of as feminism or what we think of as a woman with agency with 1967? I mean, honestly, whether you're in London or whether you're in the Middle East, it's 67. So there's just different parameters. And so it's a really sweet spot to find that with the actress and with the writing to show this woman who's had a very limited range of experience, but she's very smart. And then also possesses a kind of emotional intelligence that he doesn't. Yeah.
Thank you. So I have another question here. Switching gears just a little bit. How has your process changed during the pandemic? And have you continued to tweak the trilogy even though it's been postponed?
You know, maybe this is probably pretty familiar to most artists, but I think about it every day. So I'll have moments when I go, oh, wait a minute, maybe we should use a different hotel room scene to be that. Like, I just wake up thinking about it, and so it's with me all the time. Um, the the crazy thing for us too is that we were in our third tech rehearsal, and there were pages that had not even quite been distributed, and the group of us decided on our own to get together one day and read Urge for Going. And when we did it, they were like, wait, I don't remember these lines. And it was like, right, because that's where we were in the process. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's the positive, right? That it's given all of us, including me, time to ponder and sit with it and keep it on the front part of my brain and the back part of my brain. I can't wait to get back in rehearsal, though. I mean, as you know, there's just nothing like that. There's nothing like being in the room. Has my process changed? I have a theater company called Society. I love them dearly. I formed the company with Tim Nicolai, Scott Illingworth, and we did a play on Zoom last summer, and it is a joyous part of my life. They are incredible actors, incredible writers, and for some people, this is a time of making no theater, right? They're just like, I'm not going to do anything. That's fine. I think we each have to sort of figure out what we need. But what it's given us is a real focus, a place to be. And, it should be said that I'm very close with a lot of actors, and I mean, as hard as it is for a writer, it is so hard right now for the actors. What will work look like? When can you be back on stage? When can you be back on a film set? So it's fraught. And our New York community, I think about it a lot after just watching that, because, so many, you see Dee Dee O'Connell. I don't know if Dee Dee's here, but, Dee Dee's a legend. And she's been able to do incredible works by incredible range of people. So how do we make sure that our actors get to keep working? And that they get to keep doing challenging pieces? And how do we make sure that those challenging pieces get programmed? And I guess nobody really knows, right? After the pandemic, will there be more of an opening for pieces like that, or will things get very safe? And I think anybody who says they know you can't know right now.
Yep, absolutely.
So I think that's a great segue into the next question, which comes from Hadi, the actor who plays Adam. And he says, the trilogy to me has always been more about displacement than about identity, especially in the American sense of identity, and not that displacement and identity are mutually exclusive. Can you talk about Adam as someone looking for place and not an identity?
Well, I think that's where that sort of ties into the Wordsworth, because there was a part of my life at one point where I could have ended up going into literary criticism. I had taken a really great year-long class in English literature, and I didn't end up doing that. But so Tintern Abbey, the poem, the framing of it is that, Wordsworth says 5 years have passed since I've been to this place. And in those 5 years, he's been to France. He's had a child with this woman. The war has happened, but he comes back. And so there's this whole cycle of life that's implied by the poem. And so in a very crude way, I would say sort of he's grounded, right? In the way that I might be if I go to a certain beach in San Diego, right? I just go, oh my God, yes, this place when I was 17 and didn't know what my life would look like, and here I am again, or whatever. So for Adham, as Palestinian, he can't go back, right? So this is something that everyone faces on some level, like what is home? And when you leave, what are you leaving? And will you ever be the same? And for him, it's a political reality as well, on top of the existential. He can't go back. And so some part of him, I think, is always displaced. There's like a little part of him that just it's like he didn't get to make the poet's journey, that whole loop. So I don't know if that's what Hattie was referring to, but Hattie knows that role very well and has breathed and lived and slept that play as well. So, but that's what I would say about that.
We have time for maybe 3 more questions. So type them in the chat box. We'll try and squeeze everything in here. I have a question here. How does it feel to be soon premiering a play about Palestine in the American theater during this particular moment in history?
I mean, any moment in history, in current history, you know, Palestine is, let's face it, people see the word Palestine and they might just say, like, that's it. I can't see that play. They might not read it. They might not see it. They might not know what it's about, but it's a stopping point for people. It wasn't for me growing up Lebanese with a father from Lebanon and knowing about what was happening during the Civil War and knowing that those politics were in my home. So I sometimes think, as much as we have free speech here, we're sort of, and this is going to sound crazy, especially given our current moment, but we're actually sometimes really afraid of getting into that stuff, you know? Whereas sometimes I'll meet someone who is from the Middle East, maybe an Israeli or whatever, and you can kind of talk. You can kind of say, all right, look, and you can have a conversation. And I think that, so I would say at any moment that can be significant to do a play about Palestine. To do a play right now about people who are stateless, you know, over the past few years, I don't even know what the numbers are, right, for people who are stateless, who are displaced. And I think, you know, I guess I say a lot, but I've never been interested in showing sort of noble suffering. I mean, they are crabby, especially in the third play. You see them, they're driving each other crazy. Like, nobody is gloriously perfect. But that's important to me because that's what I saw growing up. Especially the third play in the trilogy, Urge for Going, is captures a certain family dynamic that's very familiar to me and that I love. But again, it's messy, you know? And I think if you handle it right, the messy, and you bring people in, it can work.
Okay, I have some more questions here. I have 2 questions about the post-COVID theater, so I'll just ask one of them. But
yeah,
how do you think the pandemic will change what theater looks like afterwards? Will we return to the normal, or will we address the new world we live in?
I don't feel equipped to answer that. I think the people who are now at institutions, many of them have been furloughed from coast to coast. They're the ones to answer that. I think in terms of like New York theater, I have had my own speculation, which is to get really nitty gritty. If rents go down, this is such a New York thing to think about, but if rents go down, right, then what does that mean? Does that mean that the art scene can go back to something maybe a lot of people recognize from the 80s, wherein you can actually afford, right, to be a company and rent a space? So will we see more things that are kind of in that middle zone, I would say, you know, maybe not institutional, big institutions, but, you know, small but mighty companies that have something to say. When you look at a city like Chicago, there's a lot of that kind of theater. And I don't know all the economics, but it's like the storefront thing. Whereas I came to New York in 2002, and by then I think a lot of those places had started to go away. So that is my prediction, but I don't know if it's accurate. I don't think theater will be back to as usual. Maybe some, but it feels like every institution is sort of taking itself to task. And in some ways, it's almost impossible for anything to go back to normal. It's just not, like, all of our molecules have shifted. I don't know, unless everyone at a theater, at an institution, is in some kind of, you know, fugue state. We've all gone through all this. So, but does that mean that there's not hard work to be done? Absolutely. And again, I feel like I'm, as a playwright, you're sort of a freelancer, so you don't really know what goes on in the institutions. But yes, I hope that there's change, and I hope that in some ways that we all just get back and sink our teeth back in, because as much as theater needs to exist, we need theater. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying like, we need to be doing this. It's in our bodies, and again, I love so many of the actors in my company, and it's like, not doing it is just, it's excruciating. So anyway, yeah.
I just wanted to remind anyone that if they wanted to say hello at the end of the Q&A, raise your hand and we'll try and get to that. I have another question here, Mona. I know in the program you spoke about your process with the trilogy and how you landed on the 3 plays. And we did have a question about how the process has changed during COVID, but I have another question about your creative process here, and it is just asking about what your creative process is on a daily basis.
Oh, I'm probably really terrible to ask that, because I'm actually amazed I ever get any work done. I think it's different for everybody. I mentioned my friend Kevin in the segment there, and he's one of the most disciplined people I know. It's like, I think I have to trick myself into writing. Sometimes it gets really granular and I just have to put a timer on. Knowing that I have a deadline helps. Everybody would say this, right? But no, I wish I were one of those people that was like, I have a cup of tea from 10 to 10:07, and then I sit for 4 hours, and I'm just not. But somehow the lovely thing about writing is it gets done. You look later, you're like, I don't remember doing that, but it happened. So I guess the other thing to say about the way I like to work is, depending on the play, I do love to do like a certain amount of exploration and improvisation. So even The Vagrant, the middle play in the trilogy, when we were at Sundance, we did do some of that. We did research. Mark Wing Davey, who's an incredible improviser, did some improv. It just feeds me, and it gives me it sort of puts the themes of the play like in my body or in the actors' bodies, and I can sort of work with that, almost like a mulch or something like that.
So I think we have somebody that wants to say hello on screen here. Mona, if you can check it out. Well, maybe as we work through this moment, I'll ask another question. I think we have our on-screen question, or hello. So let's cross to Christy.
Hi, Mona. Sorry, can you hear me?
Hi, Christy.
Mona, I just wanted to say, so proud of you. Beautiful program tonight. Just such a lovely display of like the depth and breadth of your work. And on behalf of Society Theater and all of us, like, we just literally could not be prouder. I'm sorry, like, I wish I could be there with you in person to celebrate this moment. All of us do. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. I mean, I feel like I talk to you all the time, so I can ask you whatever questions. But I guess the hard-hitting question I have that Ava, I think you saw, but probably, didn't take seriously. But what did Flora think of this program?
Flora was upset that she wasn't featured. That's, it's just, you can never please the animals. That's so funny. Christy,
no, just want to say congrats, really.
Yes. And I just want to say about Christy, because I think it's true. So many actors, is that what makes me happy about our theater company society is that we sort of operate on certain principles of the joint stock company that existed in the UK. And the sort of idea behind that is just that everyone, it's very democratic. People do research, people do presentations. And I guess I just want to keep saying how much I love actors. And I think that, like, I don't know how any of us can lift anybody else up right now during this terrible time, because we're all kind of like laden with things. But I just think about the acting piece of it so much because I can send something in, I can send in an email or a PDF, and they can send auditions, but that's not, being in the room. So anyway, and Chrissy's a great example of someone who, is also an incredible editor, has a great story sense. And I think I'm happy to know you, Christy. Thank you for saying hi.
Love you, Mona. Congrats. Woohoo! This is all of us at home.
Thanks, Christy. Okay, so it looks like we have Caitlin. Caitlin.
Hi, Mona. It's Caitlin from Seattle Rep. I put this in the chat, but I just wanted to say that we were so thrilled that you won this year. We were so honored to be the nominating theater. And I just wanted to say hi and say that we really, particularly the Vagrant trilogy, was just something that we devoured, everybody on our artistic staff, and I think it's just such brilliant work. And the question I wanted to pose for you was about what other ways theaters can be supporting playwrights right now, other than nominating things and that.
No, thank you, Caitlin. And I guess I just want to say about that theater is a mean world to live in sometimes, and it's really hard. And I don't know if it's mean, maybe I shouldn't say mean, but it's hard. And what was so amazing about this experience with you guys, Caitlin, was I don't know, you requested the play or read the play, and unbeknownst to me, that all happened. And it's really gratifying. It's really gratifying. How can theaters, I would say, how can theaters help theater, right? Or other than even playwrights, I've actually mentioned this to Emily Morse, but we don't know how to do this. Can there be a gathering? Can there be a place to sort of say, this is what I miss, right? Here's dreaming into the future, right? Can theaters host those kinds of things? I would say at those kinds of things that it should be playwrights, but it also should be actors and directors. And, we're all we all work in concert with each other. I will say something also that I think it might be controversial, but controversial for the 5 people who want to get fisticuffs about something like this. But I have seen Zoom readings, and I have gotten a lot out of seeing Zoom readings. And I think that in some ways, I don't know how it would work with the unions, but to have a reading that maybe you always will have a window of time that someone can see a staged reading, because I got to see a beautiful reading that Carla Ching wrote, a play recently, Revenge Porn, and it was streaming for 3 days, and I got to see it. And it's there's something, many people might disagree with me, but I got to see that, and I don't even know where those actors were. But there's a distillation of that experience of just experiencing her play in a very distilled way, that I was like, oh, this is just as good. This particular experience is just as good as me being in the room. So I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, but I have thought about that as something that I think is possibly a way to have things change from this time.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Julia here to say hello also. Julia, I think you can unmute yourself. Julia, going once, going twice. I think we're running out of time now anyway, so I might pass us back over to Ben and
Hey there.
Mona.
Okay, thank you, Ava. Thank you, Mona. I'm so miss live theatre, but I am so hopeful and happy that when I come back, Mona, your play, when we all come back, your play is going to be there. We're all going to be there. Thank you, everyone. This was a lovely night, and thank you all the actors who participated. Special thanks to our Kesselring committee, David Glanstein, Ava, of course, and the others on the committee, our jury, Michael Parva, who did such a great job directing all of this. Thank you all for joining us. As Mona mentioned, having a space dreaming into the future where actors, directors, and others can come together and discuss what comes next. We would happy to be that place. So Mona, when you've gone and had your virtual drink with Flora, afterwards come and visit us over here at the National Arts Club, and we'd love to host you and all of your creative friends and others to join us at the National Arts Club. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a lovely night, and come visit us sometime soon on Gramercy Park. Congratulations, Mona.